Hi, this is Tranisha Cottrell, and today I wanted to talk about broken. So, what made me want to talk about broken is I'm going to try to be as transparent as possible without dragging anyone into it or making it into a thing or anything like that. But I also want to make sure that I'm helping people and I'm doing all the things that God intended for me to do. And in order for me to do that, most of the time I have to be transparent. I don't have to just divulge a bunch of information, but I try to relate to the audience so that they know where my mindset is, where I'm coming from. And for any person who watches the videos and it ends up being something that's similar to something that you've done or something like that, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's about you. It could just be something that helped me grow, that helped me learn exactly what it is that I want, exactly what it is that I don't want. It could just be something that's similar and it's not even the same thing, or something that I felt like would help someone else in my situation. So it's not that I would ever say anything to intentionally hurt anyone ever. My intention is never to lead with like just blatant disregard for someone else. It's always with the intention to help someone. And I feel like for me, while I'm healing, when I was healing, like going like in the trenches, like really, really focusing on self-care and self-love. And I'm still doing those things to better myself. But when I was really in the trenches, I was whenever I would run across someone who had a similar story or someone that was going through a similar thing that I was going through, it helped me keep pushing forward and to move forward the best way that I possibly could in that season of my life. So it's never, I'm never saying a story about like a friend or whatever else, or a job or something else just to like bash anyone or anything. It's always just with the hope that I will be able to relate to someone else and help them in some way. So I just want to reiterate that because I don't want anyone to feel a certain type of way or to think that I would ever intentionally try to hurt anyone, because I'm not that type of person. And so so today I was, doing my whole bettering thing. I went to the gym this morning, and exercised and worked out, and I was sitting there. Even when I'm in the gym, I try to spend time with God. I know it just sounds like, I don't know. I just like to stay focused on Him and make sure that He's a top priority in my life, because I want to make sure that I'm living according to His plan and not what I want, because we all want things, but it doesn't mean that that would be good for you or that's something that you should have. And I had a lot of thoughts going throughout this day. So I spent time with God while I was in the gym. I exercised and I did some stuff at first. Then I did my floor exercises. And then while I was doing my floor exercises, I spent a lot of time just reflecting on things and just talking to God about the things that were going on in my life. Like, I know He's all knowing, but I still like to have a personal relationship with Him and to make sure that I am being intentional with my day. And so, like, I didn't know whether I was or wasn't going to go to the gym or not. And then I went to get a manicure and I was reading the Bible while I was waiting. And and then, I get home and I take a nap while my nails are drying because I was so tired for some reason. I don't know what was going on, but I needed that good little 20-minute nap. And so, cat nap. And so then I got home and I'm just like, okay, well, now I'm just gonna go take a shower, all the normal stuff, and do some like light cleaning. I didn't plan on like scrubbing anything or doing like the most. I just planned on like wiping some things down, like the surfaces, or, vacuuming the floors or whatever else. And so I get home. I want to share this, but I don't want it to be used against me from if someone who potentially is interested in me watches this. I don't want them to use it as ammunition against me. But I also, it's hard because I want to help people. And so I always listen to what God is telling me to talk about. And today, the thing that kept standing out, the thing that kept I kept really feeling was brokenness. I kept feeling that word, like I would listen to a sermon or I would hear someone say something, and it would make me think about things in my past. And I'm going to share this, and I'm going to share as much information as I possibly can without it seeming like I'm divulging too much information. Or so as I was going throughout my day, I started to feel like good. I felt good. I felt normal. Everything was fine. And I get this phone call. And sometimes you can get a phone call from certain people and it'll make you feel a certain type of way. And I'm not saying that this person is a bad person or a good person or whoever it is. I'm not going to divulge the name or anything like that. But when, I don't know if everyone's like this, but when I get a phone call from this certain person, it kind of, usually it will throw me off. Today it didn't throw me off. I felt fine and everything was fine. But it made me think about how I used to feel when I would receive that phone call. How when I was like years ago, how I would feel when I would receive a phone call like that randomly out of nowhere. And as I listened to the sermon today, I listened to it, I think I listened to it in the shower, and when I got out of the shower I listened to the rest of it or something like that. I don't know. But I listened to it, and it was talking about, it's something about relationships or being in a single season. And then but it went into like talking to singles, it talked to people who are engaged, and it also talked to people who are married. And so it wasn't just like a message for just one group of people, it was like a message for everyone. And so the way the pastor broke it down is he said something like his wife was so happy with him and like filled with joy, like the happiest she's ever been when she saw him playing with her daughter, and in a loving way, the way that God intended him to like love his daughter. And she said that she was so happy that her daughter would never have to experience the things that she went through in her life. And it really made me think about, it makes me think about how in the past certain people have tried to break me. They wanted to break me to the point to where I would have no hope, to where I would feel like there's nothing left to push forward for. They, like I was nothing. Like like they could hurt me more than I've ever been hurt in my past. And there's some things, I'm not going to go into detail because I don't feel comfortable divulging that much information. Not yet. Maybe eventually I'll tell my story, but there's some things that happen to you that hurt you to your core. I mean, hurt you and so badly, that try to break you, that break the spirit inside of you, that break that hope off of you, that break, it goes down deep in your core and it kills your spirit. Some things that happen to you that can literally feel like they're snatching the soul right out of your body. And when I think about relationships, or I think about like the games that people play or whatever else, it really makes me think about how this is a little cynical. And I'm, when you hear me say this, please don't take it so offensively. I'm just expressing myself, and I'm hoping that it helps someone else to realize what it does when you do things like this or when people do things like this, but I always have people, for the most part, in a relationship that would try to break me or try to steal my spirit or steal my joy or break my heart, or they just wanted to try to break me, and or they would do things that benefited them with little regard for how I would feel about anything. And they would think, "Oh yeah, I'm totally winning. Like I've broken her. I've totally won." But when certain things happen to you when you're younger, no one, there's nothing that any guy, and when I say this, please don't, I know it's going to be a little real, and I feel like for people who have went through this, it will help them maybe, or it will make them feel like they're not alone. And so for people whose spirit was stolen, or who went through something that most kids don't have to go through, or that literally breaks a child's spirit, like as a child, like as an adult, it's like, okay, people hurt you and it hurts and it's terrible, but you're an adult. When when something breaks your spirit when you're a kid, there's nothing. I'm saying this with like a little snicker, but I don't mean this in a joking way. There's absolutely nothing, no matter how horrible it is, that any man could ever do to me that could ever break me as much as that moment did when I was younger. So although like people are playing games and they feel like they have the upper hand and all this and that, no matter what, and this might sound a little sad, but there's no matter what someone does to hurt me, to try to kill my spirit, to try to kill my joy, to try to take a piece of me away, to try to hurt me in some way, to manipulate me, to feel like they have the upper hand, there's nothing that will ever break me as much as that moment did when I was younger. Ever. So when people do things to me to try to hurt me, I, I really feel like that's the best that you could do. You really feel like you doing a normal thing that most people have to deal with anyways is something that's really going to break me when I was already broken in the first place. Some people don't realize that although it seems like it's fun, it's just a game, it's just something that, everyone does or whatever else, they don't realize that some people have already been hurt so badly that even on your worst day, you still couldn't be their nightmare. And so when the pastor was preaching and he talked about that moment with his wife, it really made me reflect on some of the things that I went through a long time ago. And it made me think about how broken I felt when I was younger and some of the things that I went through and how, I went through this whole healing process to heal it, to get over it, to not get over it, but and not to compartmentalize it in any way, but to be able to go through it, to really like feel how I felt in that moment, to feel and have a conversation with the people and to really discuss how I felt about things and to really learn why some of this stuff happened and to really get an understanding for how I can be better going forward and how I can protect myself and others and how I can do the things that I need to do to be the person that God intended me to be. And it's not that I feel any like resentment towards God or anything else. I really feel like all of those things that I went through gave me the strength to make it to the point that I am today. And I know it sounds weird and a little like out of the norm, but like I said, I'm not normal. And so if I hadn't been through those things, the toxic relationship could have broken me. If I hadn't went through those things, that would have been the worst thing that could have ever happened to me in my life. And I don't know where I would have ended up. I think that sometimes, even when bad things happen, they can be used for God's benefit, because I think it gave me some underlying strength that I didn't know I had inside of me. When I thought that I was so broken that I could never be healed, and then God stepped in and allowed me to become the healed person that He created me to be. He always knew that I was going to be someone who could be something else, something better. And even when I doubted myself, even when I didn't believe in myself, even when I felt like I deserved nothing, He always knew that I deserved better. And when the pastor was preaching, I never thought of this, because, like I always say, I always thought that, every relationship was bad, and, you could only meet bad people who are going to be mean or like treat you horribly or something like that. Like, that's all I ever expected in my life. I never expected someone to actually be a nice, caring, or honest person or anything like that. And so, and I know I say this, and some people are probably going to watch it and think I'm joking, or like, how could she not know that people were actually nice people? But sometimes when things happen to you, it's hard to see that something good can happen, especially when you've been through some of those things. And it's not to say that every person is lumped into a category of all being bad people or something, but it really it really changes your whole perspective on things. And it really took me healing to be able to see that people can actually be nice, that people can actually be good people, that actually truly care about people, that actually want to do the right thing. And when I listened to the sermon, the pastor said something like, and I'm paraphrasing because I know I'm not going to say this right, but he said something like, you're in a relationship and you wonder why you're not happy, or you feel like you're missing something, but it's because you don't really know the person that you're with. And he said you really have to get to know that person and always constantly learn more about them, because people are constantly changing. And as he talked about the story about him with his daughter, and how his wife had said, I'm so happy that she doesn't have to worry about dealing with the things that I had to deal with growing up, not having a father, or whatever your story is when you're younger. And she literally was in tears, crying, because she was so happy that she was able to get that in her life. And he said something like, for the men, it's really their job to heal you. And it's not their job to do what God's job is. Like, God's been working on me. He's been like pushing me forward. He's picked me out of places that I never should have been in the first place, and allowed me to grow and become the person that I am today, and the person that I'm becoming. I'm becoming, trying to become better and better every single day. And he said that it's really, really their job as a husband or a boyfriend or someone that's getting to know the person. Their main job is learning, like the university of learning the person that they're talking to or getting to know, and to potentially heal that person in the area where they were broken before. And it really made me think about how I never expected any person to be a nice person in the first place. And now he's saying that there's going to be someone that comes in who actually helps heal you, that will truly see you, that will really want to learn more about you, because it just, I never would have ever thought of it like that if I wasn't in church, if I wasn't listening to sermons, if I wasn't trying to be a healthier version of myself. I would have never thought that another person, a partner, someone coming in my life could potentially be the person who really truly doesn't want to hurt me. And I know it sounds crazy. It does sound like a little silly saying it out loud, but I always expected people to hurt me. So, I don't know. I could really just honestly say, I just don't know. Like I said in the one video, I never had someone actually be nice to me, to truly care about my well being. And I don't mean that in like I don't have family and friends that truly care about my well being and are nice to me. I mean someone who is like someone that I'm talking to or getting to know, or that I would actually be interested in. And I say that because sometimes when you grew up in, not grew up in toxicity, but sometimes when you've had toxic relationships or that's all you've known, you really, you really haven't seen anything else. And I'm trying to be as delicate as possible because it's really sensitive when you talk about some kind of things that people have been through in the past, or just really personal topics that could end up offending someone. And so it's so crazy. I just never would have expected any person to be nice to me that was interested in me. Like, of course they're nice when they want something, but I I just sadly never experienced that. Like, and I don't want to put down any of the people in the past who were like, well, I was interested, but you were too busy. Yeah. Or anything like that. Because, when you're younger, you just feel like life goes on forever and you just have an infinite amount of possibilities of things that, you just, I just was more into being, and just to be real, being selfish and just really, I just never, I always expected someone to just eventually treat me badly or to eventually just be super mean to me. And so whenever someone would be nice, I would just be like, what do you want? Like, you're nice for what? Like, why are you really being nice? And I'm laughing, but I laugh through awkward situations, so that just happened. And so I never really took any of those people seriously because I was just like, like I would rather, then I would have rather had someone be mean to my face and behind my back, not just to smile in my face and be nice to me and then stab me in the back. So for me, that's how I felt. I didn't feel like, oh, just treat this person with love and kindness, and then everyone will show you who they are, regardless if they're good, bad, or indifferent. Like they will, if they're good, you'll figure out they're good. If they're bad, you'll figure out they're bad. But don't just lump every person into a bad category. And I'm hoping that that helped you with knowing that the person you're with will kind of help heal that broken part of you. They will, because they are learning more about you and you'll feel more comfortable expressing certain things. It will help you heal because they will be there for the right reason and they will be leading from a place that God intended them to, and not just from a place of trying to hurt you. I know I keep looking away. I just want to make sure I don't miss anything. But it really had me thinking because I never thought of it like that at all. I never thought of I you know my whole backstory if you've been watching the videos, but if you don't know like a quick summary of everything is just it's just not what I expected. I just I really just expected every person to be mean and to hurt me in one way or another eventually. And so the idea of someone actually being a good person or good to me or treating me right was just unrealistic to me. It really didn't feel like it was something that could ever happen. And so I know it sounds like really sad, but that's really how I felt. So when I would meet nice people, I just would just be like, oh, well, eventually they're going to hurt me. So let me go ahead and push everyone away. And now that I'm healed, it makes everything illuminated. It really just puts things into perspective. It really makes me start to like go back and rethink everything that of how I used to feel and how I want to feel now and what I look for and the type of friendships I have, the type of jobs that I work, type of people that I allow in my life that are, you know, people that I talk to like as friends or talk to in that way, like with the intention of eventually like being in a relationship or something else. And it really makes me think of how different my life could have been had I just been obedient and had I just really knew that the sky was the limit and I could really do anything I put my mind to. I could really give a real person a chance and not just a bunch of mean people. And I could really cherish the people who really do care about me and not just the people who are trying to hurt me because I feel like they're just being the realest because they're being honest about what it is that who they are and what they want and not just pretending as if they really do care when they don't. And so now I don't know. I'm still like, even every time I listen to a sermon, I hear something that really does make me feel like I'm still healing or I'm still learning and growing. And you're always learning and growing. It's not that you stop learning and growing. It's just that I really never thought of someone actually caring enough to try to heal me or to try to help me. So that's why you see me like such at such a loss for words because it just keeps replaying in my head. Like, so you're saying I'm gonna get a person who actually cares, who's willing to put forth an effort, who really is there for the intention of actually trying to be nice to me and who really does care about my well-being. Okay. Like I did the side look, but I'm really listening and taking it in. And in conclusion, because I don't want this video to go too long, something from your past that really did feel like it broke you is nothing that God can't put back together. It's nothing that a real healthy relationship can help mend. So when you're thinking that you're unlovable, or you're thinking that you've been through so much, or so you've been hurt so badly that you want to see things in a negative light, you can't have all of those negative traits and positive in the same place. With me leading with love and kindness, I notice the people who surround me are loving and caring. I don't have toxic people in my life. And so, why would I ever think that I would have a toxic relationship in my life again? So, you deserve better. You deserve everything that God intended for you to have in your life. I'm not saying that you have to have this list of preferences and you think you're going to get everything on the list. I'm not expecting any person to be perfect. I'm expecting the person to be who they are and to be a genuine human being who has core values that match mine, that is equally yoked with me, that really does care about my well-being. And I'm not saying that every person that comes into your life is going to be someone who has the best of intentions. And I'm also saying that it is possible to find someone who truly does love and care about you the way that God intended for them to love and care about you. But you have to be willing to open your eyes and your heart, not leave your heart unguarded, but you have to be willing to understand that there is a possibility and not just block the blessings that God's trying to give you in your life. Know that He is the God of abundance and He can do anything. He might have to remove some things and let you get rid of some things, like that picture of the small teddy bear behind Jesus' back and then the girl standing in the front. I mean, the big teddy bear behind Jesus' back and then the small teddy bear in the girl's hand. And God is speaking to the little girl saying, I have better for you. Let it go. I have better for you. And she just doesn't want to let go of that little teddy bear. That little teddy bear for me symbolizes the insecurity, the jealousy, the hurt, the pain, the childhood trauma, everything that I've been through, everything that I thought I needed to hold on to because I felt like it was a piece of me that I couldn't let go of. The negative self-talk or the negative connotations, the tragedy, the tragic events, like anything else, anything that hurt me in the past that I feel like is normalized. It's something that I'm used to because I've had it forever. And God is saying to let that go so that He could give me blessings, real love, someone who really truly cares about me, people in my life surrounding me who care about my well being, just abundance, love, security, believing in myself, living in my purpose. And all of those things are so much greater than this little thing that you keep holding on to, but God just needs for you to let it go so that He can heal you from those broken pieces. He can break off pieces of you that no longer serve you, but when you're rebuilt, you're everything that He ever created you to be.